Hi, and welcome to the Contender Club podcast, where we talk everything that is wrestling. I am your host, and I'm joined by co-host Scott of this episode of HardTalk. We are an unbiased show here, and we'll go into this episode with an open mind, whether it's good or whether it's bad. We aren't afraid to hit home some honest, wondrous thoughts here. If you're new to this, then please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and comment in the comment section below and share with us your opinions of what wrestling means to you and what it's been like over the past few months. And I tell you what, guys, over the past few months, it has been heavy in WWE and AEW. So stay with us as we have a lot to discuss and cover on HardTalk tonight. YouTube, are you ready? This is a Summerslam recap. So, before we go into this, what are your thoughts on WWE pulling Vince McMahon away from the program?
Well, he's made it his choice to step away by coming out and saying retiring. Whether that's because of the stuff that's going on right now, I can't comment for certain. We all have our own opinions as to that's probably the main reason why he's done it. But yeah, it's a big change, and it's happened at the interesting time for the company.
It has indeed. And do you think it's best for business for him to leave the company?
Right now, at this second, probably yes. Because with what's in the media, I mean, it's getting a lot of attention, and it's also going to bring the company into problems as well. Now, over the last few years, a lot of fans have been frustrated with W anyway, because the booking just hasn't quite been as good. So maybe a lot of people might look at this and think, well, if he's stepping away, the booking will change and WWE will improve. Hopefully it will. So maybe from a business sense, fans might be more invested in the product now that Vince has sort of stepped away. They're expecting something fresh, something new. So yeah, for business sense, that could attract some old fans back potentially, and maybe even some new ones.
Would you say his past has been haunting him, which has sprung his release so quickly?
Well, what's happened recently, well, it can't be a great thing to go through. I mean, if I was a family member of him or even himself, of course, something that's in the media, something like this, will worry me. And of course, it's something like this isn't really a nice thing to go through. But the company have been through situations like this before and come out the other side. So the company itself will maybe not a lot will come from this. But right now, being in the media, being under the public eye, it can't be easy for anyone.
But in a business standpoint, it will be great in terms of not having him on board and then more stuff come out in the future, would you say?
Potentially. I mean, a lot of people won't respect him because of, well, the budget cuts, really. I think Vince and WWE could have handled it a lot better.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And I think a lot of people will still resent him and the company for that. I mean, during the pandemic era, he's put wrestlers out of jobs. And a lot of people might not be so forgiving. And a lot of fans out there won't be forgiving because he's got rid of a lot of big stars. Bray Wyatt, Keith Lee. Aleister Black, who are very popular wrestlers.
Ruby Riott, Braun Strowman, Karrion Kross.
We could sit here for hours and think of the great stars that have been released.
Or potential stars that could have made. But again, like you said, we'll be sat here debating for hours, and I think we will be. I think we'll make a few more videos of what could have been if they didn't release that so many superstars during that pandemic. At the end of the day, like you said, we could be sat here for hours debating why did they do that during that year, during that time frame. But it also brings to the standpoint like the company wasn't losing money during that pandemic era. They were making money. They were making tons of it. Tons of money was coming in during that time. How the hell was the budget cut the reason why for all those releases? I just don't know. I do not know.
Yes, I don't particularly buy the budget cuts reason. I don't think I ever will. But maybe it's just that they didn't know what to do with them, or there was friction or a difference of opinion going on behind the scenes.
But out of the bad for the past 3 years, so for the past 3 years we have had some terrible booking, some pay-per-views that were just stale, and we only had one match that carried the whole show, and it just seemed like Seth Rollins was just carrying the company for the past 3 years, producing some absolute epics from continuous pay-per-views. But anyway, out of that bad 3 years, Vince McMahon walks and Triple H is named as the creative. What are your thoughts of the future for WWE with this big return for Triple H? And he's also not just returning, he's in control of the creative direction.
Well, yeah, I'm extremely optimistic about it. I mean, we saw his track record in NXT. He done a great job of turning it into a development company, into practically its own brand and its own right, signing great stars and making names out of them. And if it wasn't for the emergence of AEW, maybe that still would be going strong to this day. But I think with him now working with some of these guys, he knows these guys. Him and Rollins have worked together before, Cody, Kevin Owens. I mean, these are guys that he has basically nurtured from NXT onto the main roster. So I think with his background as a professional wrestler as well, I think maybe this could be something. He will know more. I think he might know more about what fans want than Vince does. Because Vince will probably give you what he wants, whereas I think Hunter might be more leaning towards what the fans would like to see. So yeah, I'm very optimistic about this change, and I'm looking forward to hopefully a much improved future in the booking of WWE.
And it's all optimistic, and things are seemingly to be taking a drastic turn for improvement. And is the future? Nothing can change overnight. Nothing can change for the great overnight. But overall, with this new direction for Triple H, out comes the bag for SummerSlam. And to be honest, that pay-per-view was probably one of the best pay-per-views in about 10 years. In about, I'd say, a good solid 5 years.
Well, pay-per-views pay-per-views do really deliver. I mean, it's usually the Raws and the SmackDowns of the last few years that have not quite given the company much justice, because some of them have been quite poor. But when you get to the pay-per-views, you still get a few duds and a few what the hell sort of moments. But in general, most of them shine.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's a big stage, you get more time to put on a great match than you would on a weekly show. So, I think with it being a good pay-per-view, hopefully they've got to build on that. And over the last few years, whenever they've put on a great show, the week or two afterwards have been mediocre. But now, once you hit a big show, you have to keep pushing on from that. You've got to keep building on it. And hopefully that's what's going to happen over the next few months.
But like you said, there was a few duds in recent pay-per-views, and with this new change for Triple H, new direction, obviously things will probably look better in the future. And I tell you what, I'm more for it. You know, SummerSlam was an improvement, a solid improvement over the many duds we've had in the past on some pay-per-views. And I mean, like, duds as in, how many duds can a pay-per-view hold?
Well, not every match is going to hit the heights, obviously, because the fans are more invested behind certain stars than others. But it's all about sending the fans home happy.
Yeah,
that's what wrestling promotion's number one priority should be: send the fans home happy. And if they go home with smiles on their faces, talking about the show, they've done a good job.
But would you say Raw has had some improvement over the past 2 weeks?
From what I've seen, I mean, there's been some decent stuff. I mean, they make it. There's an interesting storyline, obviously, with Theory about the Willy Wonky. Then they bring in Dolph Ziggler, which I'm still trying to work out what the point is with that. But I think with them teasing Theory with Reigns and Lesnar, I mean, we all know it probably won't happen. But, I mean, some stuff has been alright, but there's still the stuff that makes you go, ugh. So, it's a mixture, I think.
But Julie ended with a bang in Nashville, USA. The night opened up with an emphatic opener for SummerSlam. Before we go into SummerSlam, one man did return from that vignette promos we've had over the past few days. Well, few weeks. Edge. Edge returned that night. Are we going to see someone else return? Is he just alone? What are your thoughts on that? Is Edge alone?
Well, it's going to be hard to take down both Judgment Day by himself. So maybe it would help if he has someone with him. Maybe that's the Mysterios. Maybe they're the ones that's going to stand by his side throughout all this, and it does make sense. But until we see something, I suppose we can only assume that this is just Edge on his own.
So you assume Edge is just on his own?
At the moment, because we've had we see all these different rumours going there, different people coming in, Gangrel, Bray Wyatt, somebody else, but then none of them materialise, so it's just a case of waiting to see what they've got up their sleeve. Maybe Triple H is saving it for a later date. Maybe something is going to happen, but he just wants to wait until that perfect moment.
One of the many people that Triple H has brought to WWE over the recent weeks. Logan Paul was the one who signed a new contract for WWE. Summerslam, we saw The Miz versus Logan Paul. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, the expected winner won. I mean, I didn't really think there was any way Logan Paul was going to lose this match. I think the storylines are a bit. It's not been bad. I mean, it's got the Miz a brilliant new T-shirt, which I think you've probably seen.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, actually brought AJ Styles into the storyline, which is. I mean, AJ Styles and Ciampa, both of them deserve to be doing something on their own, not being involved in some thing or some YouTuber. But yeah, I mean, Logan Paul will only benefit from working with these people. I think the Miz is the perfect person for him to have his first feud with. I mean, look at Bad Bunny. Yeah, he had a feud with the Miz, and Bunny got elevated to that big moment, and now it's the same for Logan. So yeah, Miz is the perfect person to have that first feud with.
Is it a good idea to be signing celebrities? You know, is this gonna pull things away from upcoming stars from NXT who want to be in that position? Does this damage? Does Logan Paul coming? You know, he's a YouTuber. Is probably a failed boxer. You know, should WWE be signing celebrities? Does this damage future NXT wrestlers?
Well, one thing Logan Paul does have to his advantage is a massive network of fans.
Yeah.
If he can share his experiences with the people that tune into his YouTube videos on whatever base he does, then yeah, you're bringing in potential a lot of new fans.
Yeah.
And with him being a social media influencer, I mean, marketing will be very crucial in what he does.
Yeah.
And that could actually boost WWE in those parts of in those platforms.
Similar to Pat McAfee, isn't it? Yeah. I get this.
I mean, yeah, we all like to see the young stars being pushed, but how many on the main roster right now actually fit that role? I mean, most of the young stars that will progress are in NXT, but right now, I mean, Austin Theory, he's got his thing going on. Dominic Mysterio's got his thing with his father, with potentially turning on him at some point. That's probably in the pipeline too. Madcap Moss, he's doing whatever it is he's doing on SmackDown at the moment. So, yeah, I mean, right now, there's not anyone there to sort of fill that role. So I think it's a smart business decision to bring Logan in, because it's going to bring in new fans who would turn up just to watch Logan wrestle. And maybe they might think, well, if Logan can do it, hey, this Kevin Owens guy looks interesting, I might take a look at him. Or these Usos, they look interesting. And then the more they watch the products, the more they might think, hey, actually, this place is pretty cool. I'm going to carry on watching it. So, yeah, it's opening up new streams to a new fan.
Does a defeat from Logan... Well, does a defeat by Logan Paul damage The Miz?
Right now, I'm gonna say no.
Yeah, I think he's doing. I think he's doing what nobody else is doing. You know, The Miz. I think he's excelling in his position. He's not moaning about losing to guys like these as celebrities. He's bringing out moments.
I mean,
yeah.
The Miz has been there. He's been there for a very long time. He's worked with a lot of guys. He was in that position himself. When he was a young guy, and he used to wrestle the likes of CM Punk and guys. He even won a WrestleMania main event with John Cena. Yeah. So the Miz has had those big moments, but right now, I don't think it will damage the Miz too much, because he will still be there to put on a good feud. I mean, okay, he started the year. He's had feuds with Edge. He's had feuds with Rey Mysterio. Now he's having this thing with he's had things with AJ Styles. I mean, he's still going to get booked, and he's still going to get those runs. So right now, no, I don't think it's going to hurt the Miz that much, to be honest with you.
Over the past few weeks, the Judgment Day have been battling for weeks with Finn Balor and Damian Priest. They've been attacking. Well, sorry, let me reiterate that. Sorry. For the past few weeks, the Judgment Day have been in a constant feud with the Mysterios. With Finn Balor and Damian Priest attacking Dominic Mysterio and Rey Mysterio. What are your thoughts on this and the match at SummerSlam?
Well, I think the old part has to be a celebration of 20 years of Rey. I mean, he's working a pay-per-view with his son once again, which is a great thing for him. But right now, what I'm a little bit weary is Judgment Day. There's still a new faction, and this was created for Edge.
Yeah.
And now Edge's been removed from it. They're facing the Mysterios. Edge come back for a great moment, but what's really happening with Judgment Day? Okay, so they've recruited a couple of people. They put on some spooky promos, and they're causing the friction with some stars. But is it really strengthening them? Are they actually coming across as strong? And right now, I'm not really seeing that. I mean, there are these things with Mysterios, and have they actually got any wins out of it?
Have WWE back-footed here? If they were going to bring back Edge, should it have been at a later basis? Should it have been at a time where Judgment Day have been booked strong? They brought Edge back, but Judgment Day have lost. So is this kind of back-footing the Judgment Day? Is it making them look weak? Because now Edge has made a promo on Raw saying he wants to kill the faction that he started. Does this damage that faction?
Well, it would have helped for them to win. I think it would have been a lot more better for them to they would have looked stronger in winning matches like this. And right now, I mean, they've not really had much of a chance to sort of get any momentum going. All they've really done is feud with these and not really get anywhere.
I just don't. I'm with you on this. Like, I just don't get where it's going. It's becoming that faction like we had with Retribution. It's a similar time we had with Retribution. They were made to look strong. Retribution it looked brilliant on paper, but then it just went pear-shaped. But I think it's the same thing. It's the same scenario. Judgment Day look brilliant. They were fantastic when Edge was in there. On paper, it was awesome. With Edge as the leader. We thought we was having that kind of brood, kind of faction gimmick going on again, being brought to life from the Attitude Era. But like in some kind of modern PG era. But should he have stayed?
Right now, it probably would have made more sense to do that. I mean, he was removed way too early.
Yeah, way too early.
And a lot of the booking, I mean, it is confusing to people. But since they've done that to Edge, they've not kicked on. It's not really. They've not really benefited from it.
It's like
it's frustrating.
It's like what Matt was saying. You know, they've made this faction. Edge has been released too early, and then WWE are going to see some kind of backflop go on with the example of the fans aren't going to buy it. You know, if they're going to bring back Edge, they're going to be confused. So Edge has been brought back. He's made a promo to say, "Oh, I'm going to kill the faction that he started." People are confused. They're like, "How do you buy that as a fan?"
Well, good question. And right now, when booking like this is confusing, then you're gonna confuse the fans, and the fans ain't gonna know what's going on. So, yeah, I mean, maybe they've sort of put themselves into an alley that they can't get out of.
It is. It's similar to how Retribution were formed. Yeah, I think we're going down that same path here as we did in the pandemic era. But anyway, moving on from that. As much as Edge is a fantastic superstar, I just think at this current time, I think if he was going to return, it needed to be not as the rated R superstar. It needed to be at something more like evil, if you know what I mean, or with somebody, as we predicted in our other videos. But I just don't see why he's come and returned as a face. I just don't get it. The Raw Women's Championship, Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch. Talk about their previous SmackDown bookings, you know, in the previous weeks, and then we'll go into the match itself.
Yeah, I mean, in recent weeks, Becky's sort of had the thing where she lost the title at WrestleMania. Then she sort of goes down a bit of a drama queen route about how she's hit rock bottom, and there's nothing she can do. Then she has an entertaining feud with Asuka, who calls her a baby. She beats Asuka, and then she gets a rematch of the title at Summerslam, exactly a year on from beating Bianca in 26 seconds. That's basically it in a nutshell.
We know after that match, Becky Lynch seemed to have shaken the hands of Bianca Belair. Is that good for Becky Lynch? Should she go face, or is it too early for her?
I mean, maybe they could just turn into a tweener. I don't think they should really make her a full-on face because, well, you've got that baby face in Bianca Belair. She is the baby face champion that carries the brand forward. So do we really need Becky as? Yeah, I mean, she's doing some great character work as a heel right now. I mean, maybe it shouldn't be ruined just yet. Maybe it is just still a little bit too early.
And again, just like WrestleMania, SummerSlam, both the pair of them put on an absolute clinic. Great match. I think this should have been the opener, especially with the confusion we had with the Judgment. What? Sorry.
I thought it was the opener.
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
No, I'm just looking at something. It's got all the matches all mixed up. This was the opener. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. So as we've discussed in recent weeks, with these wrestlers that have gotten released, some of the wrestlers that were released, Triple H brought two back with a returning Bayley, Io Shirai, and Dakota Kai. What are your thoughts on this?
Very interested by it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good to see Bayley back. I mean, I wondered when she was going to show her face. Bringing Dakota Kai and Io Shirai, I think, yeah, that's a great move. Dakota well, we all assumed that she was no longer working for the company, so I think that probably surprised a lot of people when she appeared. And Io is a great wrestler who deserves to be on the main roster. So yeah, I'm hoping to see where this goes.
And again, in recent weeks, we've discussed whether the likes of AEW or Impact would excel the opportunity in taking the likes of Dakota Kai or Io Shirai. Was this a tactical maneuver by Triple H to pull them back?
Well, yeah, I mean, he's worked with a pair of them before. I think he knows their capabilities. I think now this is his sort of sprinkling, whereas everything else on that show was probably set in plan by Vince before he made the decision. So I think most of the booking decisions for SummerSlam are basically out of his hands. But him putting this is putting his little... It's like basically putting that little bit of pepper on the meal just before you eat it. That's really what he's done. He's just added a little bit of his own flavour to it. And now, so that's something that his plans moving forwards.
Indeed.
It's his creative doing this. So yeah, definitely.
And again, we've talked about this on how WWE could change if they allowed the change, if Triple H was to return, but in a creative direction. And we have discussed this. And again, one of the very things that we did discuss was these two women returning. You know, these were one of the changes that we did discuss, and Matt and yourself did say that, well, if they did bring back some kind of people that they released, you know, it would help aid WWE in some kind of development way. It will bring back freshness to the show, and I think they've delivered. I think Triple H has delivered here. I think he's done a tactical maneuver to stop companies like Impact or AEW to pull someone like Dakota Kai, Io Shirai, because again, like you said, Triple H knows their quality, knows they have some talent and worth to WWE, and again, I think he's done absolutely fantastic to, you know, do everything to pull them back. And again, what's next for them?
Absolutely.
What's next for Dakota Kai and Io Shirai? You know, people on YouTube are saying they want Asuka versus Io Shirai.
Oh, that would be very good.
Absolutely.
Very
you know,
good.
the dream matches from both of these women are coming in so quickly, you know. People on YouTube are pulling in the stops here, wanting some dream matches from both of these women. You know, would you have Io Shirai versus Becky Lynch?
I think that would work together. I mean, Io, with her eye flying and sort of agility, she's something that her style could potentially cause a lot of problems with Becky.
Yeah.
Whereas Becky, the more sort of technical and sort of like a grounded wrestler. I think their styles will work out quite well and make it actually a good match.
I think we've got 3 more matches. So I want to try and get this done quick. The Undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship, the Usos and the Street Profits. Recent weeks, the build up to this, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, so some of it built all right. I mean, with the non-pin at Money in the Bank, that's actually created this rematch. I mean, the Street Profits will always look strong. I mean, Montez Ford is an absolute star. I mean, he is a star in the making. I mean, with as long as the Street Profits are together, Montez will shine regardless. So I think if you're putting the Street Profits in a match at SummerSlam with the Usos, it's always going to be a great match. And maybe there was actually a strong case of the Street Profits actually winning. I think quite a few people out there would have thought the Street Profits would get the result, get the job done.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, it wasn't to be.
And to be honest, I think I did put the Usos to win, but in something in my mind just wanted the Street Profits to win. You know, I think they were a tag team, I thought, that had the charisma, the ability to carry those belts if they had won. And to be honest, I don't think WWE has another tag team now that has some worth now to pull the stops in defeating the Usos. You know, like we've said in previous videos, you know, I think WWE are back-footed from their tag team division. You know, they've had so many tag teams that could have had some worth, but they've just split them up so quickly.
Yes,
so
quickly in some cases.
You know, it's sad as it seems. You know, I think Usos need to carry this now. They need to carry on carrying it until some kind of decent tag team has some kind of worth, you know, in carrying those belts. Because if they do a rematch, the Street Profits are being booked to try and be split. So how could they do a rematch and have the Street Profits carry those belts if WWE are booking them like they're going to end up splitting?
Well, I mean, there's been rumours going around that the Street Profits could be splitting.
Yeah.
Purely because Montez being the star, Dawkins getting in the way with it. I mean, we've seen that movie play out so many times before, and I actually don't want them to split.
No, yeah, I agree.
They're a very entertaining tag team, and I think that they've got a lot of fans, and I actually enjoy watching them. I mean, you've got a great entrance, got great personality, great in the ring. Keep the Street Profits together. I definitely think so. But Montez will be a star, regardless of what happens.
Like we said, like you said before, you know, when you've said sometimes it's good for a tag team to split, but like in this position where WWE haven't got the tag teams around, is it worth WWE's time to split a tag team up and then create a new one?
In some cases, yes. I mean, because certain wrestlers, you can tell from a long way off how popular and how good some guys can be. And sometimes, if they're in tag teams, I mean, does that sort of hold them back from going forward as a solo star and achieving what they've done? I mean, look at Edge. He was in that tag team. Then when he finally got that big win, when he won the King of the Ring, he won the Intercontinental Championship, what did they do? Christian turns on him. Then Jeff Hardy finally won the WWE Championship at was it Armageddon 2008. Finally won that world title. The very month afterwards, Matt Hardy turned on him. Sometimes that booking was for the best. Because you know that Edge and Jeff, they're going to be stars. And being a part of a tag team, although it's not impossible to book, I think sometimes you might need to temporarily break up that tag team to really make a star out of the individual.
I agree. But I just want, at this current time where there is no tag teams around, you know, there's hardly any around, I just want there to be a time where WWE have got, you know, 4 potential tag team matches. You know, 4 tag teams that you could have. Remember, like, we discussed this on many videos, man. The potential for a 4-way tag team match. You know, them kind of matches in a pay-per-view. I would love to see that kind of match return. You're seeing 4 WWE tag teams going for a title in a match at a pay-per-view. I would love to see that kind of match return at a pay-per-view in the future. But I think that we've got the right guy who might have that vision there. You know, I think Triple H would be that kind of guy to carry that vision, you know, if the idea would be in his head. But again, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, them sort of matches are always entertaining. I mean, multi-man matches just work because there's so much going on that you don't know what's going to happen from one meeting next, and they're really hard to call match fight, but who's going to win? But with a lack of big teams going on, I mean, look how many babyface tag teams are in WWE right now. You've got Street Profits, the Mysterios, the New Day. That's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Then you've got the heel tag teams.
They released a great potential tag team from NXT Gold and Black. They released a fantastic tag team. I just hope Triple H ends up bringing them back, to be honest. But again, that's for the future. But
I'll take some big offers, especially now that some of those guys go on to other places and are shining.
A brief recap: Pat McAfee versus Happy Corbin over the previous weeks, and then the build up to SummerSlam.
The build up was interesting.
I mean, it was.
They've made Pat McAfee a really entertaining person that everyone will get behind. I mean, him come in and say "Bomb ass Corbin," I mean, he gets everyone cheering it as well. He's just so entertaining and so loved. I mean, the guy is wasted on commentary. I think Matt has said this on many videos. You know, he would want to see the time where Pat McAfee was more in the ring. You know, because he did well on NXT in the past. He did fantastic in the ring, especially in the likes of the War Games. You know, and again, I would love to have add Matt on this, because then I could have asked his worth on Pat McAfee, because he knows a lot about that kind of NXT, because he used to watch NXT back in the day a lot with Triple H under the wing. But again, like you say, you know, I think in commentary is you're not seeing much of Pat McAfee. You know, even though he is great on commentary, but like he's better in that ring, talking and doing the matches. You know. Yeah, I think he could do even more of an on-screen presence. Yeah, his commentary is brilliant. When he gets on the table and Nakamura's entrance, brilliant. Maybe we could do something where maybe he gets his own chat show, or he becomes more of an on-screen presence. Yeah, I mean
that would be awesome. You know, his own the Pat McAfee show on WWE.
Yeah, just giving him something more where he can get on the mic more, he can talk more, he can interact more with the stars. I mean, that will definitely benefit him, and I think people might actually want to see that.
Moving on, the Money in the Bank winner, Theory, faces Bobby Lashley for the United States Championship. In the recent weeks, the build up to this, and then your thoughts on the match at SummerSlam.
Build up probably wasn't as great because they were focusing Theory more in the Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar storyline than they were with Bobby Lashley. I mean, yeah, the thing with Dolph Ziggler, where Ziggler's getting involved and taking him out, then he's getting involved in this Roman Reigns. I don't think they've really built up. I think in the rematch of Lashley, was there really a need for this match?
Is it confusing?
Is
it confusing? Because, like you said, you know, they're doing. He was doing stuff with Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler was interfering with Theory. Then he was having this mix up with Bobby Lashley. You know, doing some kind of showman thing. You You know, this
that was a little bit ridiculous, but still.
that was. Then he's having multiple rematches with Bobby Lashley, but then he's interfering with Brock Lesnar, interfering with Roman Reigns. Is it confusing?
It is, I suppose, because there's all these different branches coming out of obviously the briefcase cash in, Dolph Ziggler, Lashley, stuff going on that you think, well, why are they putting him into so many different things? Focus on one thing right now. There's no if you're gonna have it with Ziggler, let him feud with Ziggler. Let him have a match with Ziggler. If he's doing this thing with Lashley, let him focus on Lashley. If it's Reigns and Lesnar, then let him focus on that completely. Don't have him doing 3 different things at once, because what's the point?
How would you book it?
Right now, my main focus be his thing with Dolph Ziggler. I think he's coming in. Yeah. He's done this fit. Make a bit of a rivalry between Theory and Ziggler. Make a match where you put briefcase on the line, something like that, and then have Theory win. And then further down the line, eventually you cash in.
Have they put the?
Now, there's too much going on.
Have they put the Money in the Bank on the wrong guy?
No, I wouldn't say put it on the wrong guy, but maybe just have him focus in selective storylines rather than a part of 3 in 1, because it can get confusing. If Dolph Ziggler turns up, super kicks him a few times, and you don't see Dolph Ziggler for a few weeks, people think, well, what's happening there?
What's next for Theory?
I think he's got to slowly build towards the cash-in. I mean, I'd carry on the feud with Ziggler while still getting involved with Roman Reigns and such. And eventually, I can see a cash-in, but it won't happen on Roman. No way.
When's the best time to cash in? Is it at Clash at Champions? Or is it further in the future? No.
I don't want it in Cardiff.
No.
Maybe he's somewhere like a Royal Rumble. If McIntyre's still a champion, then you can have him cash in on McIntyre. And if Cody Rhodes comes back, I mean, Cody Rhodes, Theory, WrestleMania, Cody wins the title. And that's that way you're actually fulfilling so many different stories.
Yep.
Within one storyline.
The main event for SummerSlam, undisputed WWE Universal Championship, is on the line. 2 of the biggest names in the past 7, probably 10 years, Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, clash for one more time. What are your thoughts on this? The build up to this and then the match.
The build up wasn't as much as the first 2 matches. I think because we're having Brock do his thing, and Roman do his thing, I think it's been a little bit individual about it. They've been doing their own things without actually being in the ring much at the same time.
I can't.
There's a couple weeks ago on SmackDown, Lesnar come out, he lays out Theory. Roman Reigns turns up on Raw, he has the thing with Theory, and he has the match with Usos. They're not really in the ring at the same time. So it's been a little... it's all been individual rather than a combined booking effort over the match.
I can say the promo that Paul Heyman did for the previous SmackDown before SummerSlam, that was fire. I think they could have done that again. I think they should have done. I wanted more of that, but in previous weeks, if you know what I mean. Like, I wanted more about Lesnar. I wanted something where if he had actually attacked Paul Heyman, you know, or if he had sneakily attacked one of the Usos.
Yeah,
No, it was more of just in ring promos or Brock Lesnar interfering Paul Heyman. I think they could have done more. They could have been more creative there. You know, have Brock Lesnar attack Paul Heyman, or have him attack one of the Usos, so it affects Roman Reigns in that match. If you know what I'm saying. I think they could have done. I think they could have done that. They could have done. They could have done more creatively to have aided Brock Lesnar into that match. You know, like I said, it probably would have attacked one of the Usos, so they couldn't interfere in that match. I think that could have played out.
Yeah, definitely. They could have done more. Definitely.
But the match itself, what are your thoughts on it?
Oh, I've heard so many great stories about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably the best one they've put on in this series over the last year.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a shame that Brock's lost him 3 times. But, well, it is what it is.
It's the common thing though, isn't it? You know, Seth lost to Cody 3 times. Brock Lesnar loses to Roman 3 times. I think, in all honesty, if there was going to have Brock Lesnar lose a SummerSlam, Brock Lesnar should have won a WrestleMania. In all my opinion, Brock Lesnar should have been the guy to win at WrestleMania, and then Roman Reigns claim back his title at SummerSlam. If he was going to lose, if Brock Lesnar was going to lose at SummerSlam and call it quits and leave, he should lose. He should have lost at SummerSlam, but he should have won the title at WrestleMania. I think. Again, it's like what you said with Cody Rhodes. It's like, why lose 3 times? You know, it could have been a draw at WrestleMania. You know what I mean? I would have been fine with that. It could have been a draw at SummerSlam. I would have been happy with that, because then at least Brock Lesnar doesn't leave that night losing. Roman Reigns doesn't leave that night losing. It doesn't hurt or damage his reputation. It works for both of the guys, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, Brock Lesnar should have won 1. Come on.
Yeah, I would like to have seen it 1, but because Roman's been booked so strongly, I mean, it needs, for Roman to lose, it has to be the perfect moment. Was Brock the perfect moment? If you think about it in detail, the answer is probably no.
But who's the perfect moment, though? Is it going to be Drew McIntyre? I can't see it being. It would make
sense. I mean, I think Drew has been one of the best booked wrestlers for the last few years. I mean, he had that great moment. He was a great champion throughout the pandemic era. And even though he lost it over a year ago, he hasn't really looked weak.
No.
He's always been there or thereabouts, and he's always come out looking reasonably decent. So I think he's been one of the best booked wrestlers over the last few years.
Yeah. What's next for the Undisputed title? Is Roman carrying it for until 1,000 days, or is he losing in the next 20 plus days?
Hopefully he will be losing it, and hopefully we go back to having won a champion on each show. Right now, if you've got both belts on SmackDown, then no one's been a champion on Raw, and vice versa.
I don't mind having the Undisputed Championship. I don't mind it. But I think they should have... How they've done it, I don't like. You know? My vision of the Undisputed Championship was scrap the big W title, bring back something more credible. You know, make a title belt. You know, more like someone wants to carry that belt, so it means something. You know what I mean? For me, that big W title, even though I've got one, but like, you know what I mean? But it doesn't look good, man. It doesn't look good.
Well, yeah, maybe that's something that will change. I doubt it, but you never know. With Triple H in charge, maybe you might see more differences than you expect.
Does WWE need that kind of change for a belt?
I don't know, really. I mean, it all depends on the belt's been in sort of the company for a few years now. I mean, the Universal Championship in itself is 6 years old, which in standards is actually quite new. But the designs been in place for at least the last 6 years, albeit a different colour. So yeah, maybe a small change. So you don't need a massive difference. So yeah, maybe a small change.
But they won't bring back anything like the Big Eagle.
Well, I mean, Big E's hopefully when he recovers, we might see him get back in it, but he's got a long road of recovery yet. I mean, the injury.
No, I mean, I meant like the Winged Eagle title. They won't bring nothing like that back.
Sorry, I thought you said Big E for a second. Oh yeah, that belt.
Hello? Scott?
Yeah?
You just went silent there, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. So yeah, I'm not expecting a massive. I mean, maybe they can't.
It's cutting off. Say that again. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm not a big change. As we are, I think maybe.
Say that all again. Say that all again. Sorry, you just went silent on my end.
I'm not expecting to see.
Oh right.
That sort of. I think we're going to see if they are going to change the design of the belt.
Yeah.
I'm expecting something completely different, something completely fresh.
Okay.
So it's not been seen before.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, that was the SummerSlam recap, and it's great to hear you again. We've been away for a week. I was down in Wales, so I haven't been able to put another show out for you guys. But anyway, we're back. Fantastic video again. It's great to having Scott back on board here, and hopefully next week we'll have another one again, and hopefully we'll do an AEW one. But anyway, thank you, Scott. Thank again, man, Scott, for coming on board, man. And I'll see you again next week. I'll see you again next week, mate.
Yeah, next week, yeah.
Have a lovely evening, mate. Thank you.
You too, mate.